guys! Today I would like to revisit the topic of Italian Renaissance hair taping. I did a video about this 10 years ago, I think it has been now, which is a long time, and it is one of my favorite ways to do hair, I guess. Favorite historical hairstyles, because it's so easy to do and so impactful. I feel like this looks really impressive, it looks very beautiful. So when I think Italian Renaissance, it is very closely tied to super elaborate, richly decorated hairstyles. The Italians in the 15th and 16th century were on top of their game when it came to hairstyling. The paintings from that period feature ladies with the most amazing looking hairstyles. Very much to my personal taste, I must admit, that's why I probably like them so much. But tying the hair up using ribbons or thin scarves was a very popular way of dressing the hair, and is featured in so many different paintings and drawings and sources. And usually what you get is a twist of hair, so a rope braid or a regular braid, or just the hair itself bound together, sewn onto the head using a ribbon or again a thin scarf. There are countless ways you can do this, countless variations, but I'm going to show you a pretty simple design today for a quite basic Italian hair taping hairstyle. It should come out looking something like this, so let's get started straight away. Most commonly the hair would have been worn in a center parting, so I'm gonna do mine in a center parting as well, and I'm gonna have to deal with my bangs. Shouldn't be too big of a problem. I am wearing some hair extensions to fill out my braids. I need a little bit more length and thickness to get the effect that I want to achieve with this. Just letting you know that you don't need them. If your own hair is about mid-length, then you should be absolutely fine. You need to have long enough hair to be able to wrap it around your head, but once you have that, then you're all good. So I have split my hair down the center and literally just split it. I don't have a parting down the back. There are some images where you can see the women with partings in the back. I just personally prefer the look with no parting, also because I'm wearing extensions. I can't really do a parting because my wefts would show, but I also just prefer that look. So what I'm going to do is in the front of my hair here, I'm going to start on one side and I'm going to start twisting the hair back. And as I'm doing that, I'm just going to very quickly slide in a pin here to hold down those bangs. Gonna keep twisting, twisting, twisting all the way back. When I make my way down, I'm gonna make sure that the hair I have in this hand is about half of all of the hair on this side. So that should be around here. I'm just gonna continue twisting this strand a little bit further down because I'm gonna be making a rope braid with this eventually. So I'm gonna take the other half of the hair, twist that in the same direction that I have been twisting it all the time. And then I'm going to twist these two around each other in the opposite direction. So I have been twisting away from my face, which means that I'm going to twist these two towards my face. So I'm going to keep twisting the individual strands away from my face and then twisting them around each other towards my face. And that's going to create a little rope braid for me here. Okay, when I come to the end of my braid, I'm gonna tie it off with a hair elastic. Obviously, this isn't historically correct. Back in the Renaissance, this could have been tied with a piece of string, or not at all. Most likely it was just pinned. I'm gonna make this braid a little bit looser because I don't want it to be this tight. It needs to look a bit more fluffy. Okay, then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I am just gonna go back and enforce this twist that I have a little bit because I can already see it slipping. I didn't bother curling my hair, so that's probably why this isn't holding too well. If your hair is a bit coarser than mine or has maybe a little bit more texture, then this shouldn't be a problem. But if it is, you can always just add more bobby pins. So I have my two braids now, I have my front twists. So now I am going to cross my braids in the back, like that, and bring them forward to the top of my head. I think I'm gonna do them a bit more to the back. And then where I want them to end, or where they naturally do, I'm gonna take a little claw clip and just clip this. Let me turn around so you can see what's going on here. Next step is to actually sew or tape down this hair. So for that, you're going to need a long piece of ribbon. I think I did about 1.5 times my arm span. It needs to be long enough to sew the braids and then wrap around one more time. It's better to leave your ribbon a bit longer than to make it too short. And you will also need a blunt needle. I use just the one that I use for my knitting and crochet. It has a nice big opening and a blunt tip, and this one's nice and flexible as well. You definitely don't want to do this with a sharp needle, by the way, because you run the risk of hurting yourself, damaging your scalp. We don't want any of that. So I'm gonna take this and let me just turn around for this portion here. So I am going to run the needle underneath my braids here. And I'm gonna leave a long enough tail so that I can tie this off into a bow at the end. But from now on, I am basically just going to whip stitch this in place. So I'm gonna go around my braids. And you want to catch both braids in every stitch. I'm making sure to really go over my scalp with the needle to make sure that I'm actually sewing these braids onto something and not just, wrapping ribbon around them, because that wouldn't actually help them hold. Now, if you're doing this by yourself on your own hair, it is definitely possible, but in that case, I would advise you to stand in front of a standing mirror and have a second handheld mirror near you so that you can check what you're doing from the back regularly to make sure that the ribbon is laced through in regular intervals. So not like what I'm doing right now. But at this point I can see from the front what I'm doing pretty well. And you also want to make sure when you are threading your ribbon that it isn't folded. So when you come to the front center, you're gonna have a little bit of tail probably peeking out. So just tuck that underneath the other braid to hide it. I'm gonna take out my claw clip now. I'm gonna keep holding this with my hands while I stitch over it. And when you have reached the center of the top of your head, you're gonna want to do a back stitch once. So go back to create a little X in the center front just to fortify that bit a little bit, because that's where your ends are and that is where it's most prone to slipping out. And then you can just continue on the other side. Okay, so now I know that my ribbon is way too short because this was supposed to wrap around one more time. So I'm afraid I'm gonna need a longer one. So I'm just gonna do all of this again. The extra wrap is very important. It features in nearly all of the paintings where women have their hair like that. So I'm just gonna go back and do this again with a little bit of a longer ribbon. But basically, the hairstyle is done. In the end, you would just tie these two pieces together into a little bow. So if you want it, you could just finish it here. And it would look something like this, but I'm just gonna redo it real quickly and then I'll come back. Okay, so with a long enough ribbon, it looks a little something like this. Now, I must say, guys, by far the hardest thing about this is getting your stitches even. I had to redo mine 3 or 4 times, and this is about as good as I could get it. So if you can ask someone to help you, I would definitely recommend doing that because this is pretty difficult to do on your own hair. But still, even so, I feel like this looks very pretty, very romantic, very quintessentially Renaissance. Now, of course, this is a very basic hairstyle. You can see this in quite a few sources, but the Italian Renaissance is known for its super elaborate hairstyle. There was a lot of artistic freedom and freedom of kind of self-expression in ladies' hairstyles. So there are loads and loads and loads of examples of more elaborate hairstyles out there, but you can also, of course, feel free to come up with your own. Add some curls, add some pearls, add some gold, jewelry, things, hair nets. There are loads of possibilities with Italian Renaissance hair, but this is the basic process of hair taping. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, guys. If you did, don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for loads more beauty and lifestyle content. If you would like to support me through Patreon or my merch store, there's a link in the description box below. Thank you so much for your support. There is another video here that I think you might also enjoy. You can go watch next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video.